Hey everybody, this is Kristen Fagan here for a new episode of Free Spirit Beading. Hi Lydia, welcome. On today's episode of Free Spirit Beading, knit happens again. I'm so excited to share this project with you guys. We started this a little bit last week and we're gonna do a knitted bracelet this time, and we're gonna use some teeny tiny heart crystal charms. Hi Lee. And attach those to our knitted portion of the bracelet for a very sweet Valentine's Day jewelry project. Hi Sheila. Hi Carrie. Welcome. Good to see you guys on here live today. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment and wish you guys a day of love and service in honor of the life and legacy of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. He has so many wonderful, inspiring speeches and things that he has, moving quotes that he has, and I just wanted to share two of my favorite. So the first one that I love is, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. And I love that quote for what it is, but I do find that it is one, I think because of its simplicity, and it is one that I will conjure up in my own mind when things are feeling a bit frustrated or something is just angered me and got me upset. When I take a moment to take a deep breath, that quote is something that does kind of show back up in my life and remind me that, hate is a really great burden, and more often than not, it's going to affect us more than it's going to affect the person, place, or thing that we are hating on. So just come back to love. It's all about coming back to love, and that is where you will find your own inner peace, where you'll find your harmony, and you'll be able to offer forgiveness. So that's one of my all-time favorite moving quotes. And then another one is, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. So I just wanted to share those two with you today, as we are working on our little love bracelet here, and just take a moment to honor the wonderful work and life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. All right, well, that said, today is January 20th, 2020. Lydia says those are nice quotes. Yeah, they are. And it is amazing how many he has. He just was such a wise soul. It's January 20th, 2020. And we have an awesome deal going on over at softflexcompany.com, as we always do. Always like to share our specials each week with you guys here on Monday. And it is called Cupid's Cashback Credit Offer. And what that is you can get up to $20 credit in your online account based on what you spend on your order today and tomorrow. It ends tomorrow. If you spend $25, you'll get a $5 credit. If you spend $50, you'll get 10. $75, you will get 15, and if you spend $100 or more, you will get $20 credited to your online account that you can then use in the future. The credit will be applied by the 23rd at the latest, and it'll be based off your subtotal, and then you will have until the end of February to use that credit. It'll just be placed in your customer account, so when you go to log in and place an order, you will be able to see that credit, and when you go to check out, there'll be an option that says, do you want to use your credit? It's usually automatically checked, but sometimes it's not. It's in the payment section, so just make sure that your credit is checked if you want to go ahead and use it. So that is a pretty sweet deal. That is for retail priced orders only, and it's good until tomorrow, January 21st, 2020 at midnight Pacific time. And if you get your order over $50 within the United States, you have the option of shipping that order for free as well. So like I said, today we're gonna make this knitted bracelet. I had gotten it started here, and we're gonna go over this knit number 3 one more time. That's the same one we used last week. But for those of you that did not see last week's video, or if you just wanna see it again for a nice little refresher, I'm gonna go over how to do this particular knitted pattern once more. And we're gonna make a pair of matching earrings. So we'll finish off that bracelet and we'll make a pair of matching earrings. All right, let's turn you down. Is anybody off of work today? We might have some new viewers that are not usually able to tune in. If you are new to being live with us, welcome. We did introduce some memory wire. Carrie says, I'm having a lazy day at home. That sounds really nice. If you guys have, if you use memory wire, we just introduced some necklace, bracelet, and ring memory wire packages. This is the bracelet one. If you don't know what memory wire is, Sarah had 2 wonderful videos last week. There was one on Saturday using the bracelet, which is what this one is here. And then there was one on Wednesday. The Saturday one you can find here on the YouTube channel. And the video on Wednesday was a necklace, and you can find that on the Soft Flex Company Facebook page in the video section. We also introduced these heavy-duty memory wire cutters. You do not want to use your regular beading nippers or cutters with memory wire. It is a steel-based wire. It is super heavy-duty, and it will damage your regular cutters. So these are very affordable. They're about $11 or so. And if you work with memory wire or want to, you'll need to pick up some special cutters for that particular product. All right, so I'm gonna be using a knitting spool. This is a 3-pin knitting spool to do the knitted design. And I'll be using that with the Soft Flex Medium Red Coral. Now, I did this particular length, I did with an entire spool of our 10-foot Red Coral. So if you, let me just grab my, so this gave me about 5 inches, I'm going from end cap to end cap, of knitted wire off of the 10-foot spool. So if you have a 10-foot spool, you would just use it from beginning to end and you will get this length of wire. Carrie says, that is so pretty. Thanks, Carrie. I know it's pretty cute. I'm very excited to share with you these little charms too. So these little guys are so adorable. They are sterling silver. They are Austrian crystal, jet black, and they're double-sided. So each side you have the crystals coming through, so which is really nice when you're designing, and you don't have to worry about it flipping over and showing a flat side. You've actually got the crystal on both sides. They're so stinking cute and itty-bitty. If you like dainty designs or you like adding little dainty accents, these are perfect. So we have these online. You can find them in our closeout section. So they're all 30% off. They come in a package of 10, and the entire package is on sale for $14. And like I said, they're Austrian crystal and they're sterling silver, so they're really nice quality. And they're just so stinking cute. We have a handful in the hearts. We have jet black, we have some sapphire, some light amethyst and topaz, so also just a crystal color and an AB crystal color. And then we also have some other shapes. There's some round shapes, there's some diamond shapes, and there's some flower shapes. And the flowers are a bit larger, but the round and the diamond are itty bitty like the hearts. So since they are closeout, once they're gone, they're gone. But we do have quite a few of the black, so that's why I chose to use that today. And then we're gonna make a sweet pair of earrings with them too. In addition to the charms and the wire, I have some black beads. These are 6mm little black textured beads. We don't sell those at Soft Flex Company, and we don't sell these. These are a 10mm red faceted kind of, it's not a crystal, it's probably more of a check glass bead, but it's got some interesting facets. But we'll be using those on the bracelet today. So these are 10mm. And then you'll need these little 4mm jump rings is what I'm using to attach the tiny charms. You can go up a size if that's what you have on hand, but I did like using the smaller jump rings in this case because I had some. To finish our bracelet, we're gonna be using these capital cord end caps. And we have these at softflexcompany.com. I'm gonna use this bright silver color, but we also have them in a tin, which is kind of like that one, some antique copper, some antique brass, and some bright gold. And lastly, I'm gonna be using this silver maker. It's called a maker's toggle clasp, and it has that side and then the little bar to go with it. And these come in the same metals as the end cap. So you've got antique copper, antique brass, a bright gold, a bright silver, and like a gunmetal-y color. What's fun about these toggles is they are two-sided, so you've got this really pretty hammered side on one side, and then you have a very simple clean side on the other side. So we sell hammered cones, and when I use the hammered cones, I love to show this side. But since I'm using the end caps today, which are just a smooth silver, I am gonna use the toggles on this side. So that is kind of nice that we have the option of doing both. We've also got some silver ear wires, and we'll be using 2x2mm crimp tubes in silver with this project today. For tools, I have a flush cutter. This is the Soft Flex Professional Flush Cutter. I am going to be using the magical crimping pliers, and we now have an ergonomic handled magical crimping plier, so that's the one I'm going to use today. And I've got a pair of chain nose pliers and a pair of flat nose, and this is just to open and close jump rings. You can also use chain nose and bent nose, or 2 chain nose pliers would work also, as well. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is I wanna show you the knitting pattern. And to do that, I'm gonna be using this 3-pin knitting spool. Soft Flex Company, we sell this in a 3-pin, a 4-pin, and a 5-pin. And I have taken to the 3-pin lately. So this one has been the one I've been using the most. And that is the one that I used to create this one here. When you go up in pin size, your knitted piece will just get larger, it'll get thicker, and you do use a little more wire. So with the 3-pin, you're gonna use a little less wire, and you're gonna have a little bit thinner of a final knit pattern. So if you have a 10-foot spool that you haven't used yet, you can totally do this project with that from beginning to end. I like to work off the spool itself. And if you have a larger spool, like a 30-foot or 100-foot, you just work off the spool, and as you're working, you would measure to know when to stop. When you measure to find out the length of your knit, you're gonna start at the top of the tool, and your knit will come out the bottom here, so you'll just measure until you get the 5 inches, and that's what we're working with for this project. So when your knit gets down to here, you know that you can go ahead and stop. Or like I said, if you're using a 10-foot spool, you can just use it from start to finish. So to start this knit, we're gonna put some wire down the center of our knitting spool. I'm gonna use my ring finger to hold it in place, and I'm gonna make sure there's some slack down here so that when I start knitting at the top, I can pull this without having to let go, without it pulling away from my finger. And I have my spool numbered 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise. We are gonna wrap the beading wire around 1 and then come to 2, around 2, come to 3, around 3, and go back to 1. Now we're gonna go around all of them on the outside above the loop. So what I'm doing here is here's our first loop on 1. We're gonna go above the loop and just around the outside of the pin. Around 2, around 3, and when you come back to 1, this is your third pass. I'm gonna hold that with my finger. And what we're gonna do here is pull this loop from here. Carrie says, I've never seen the knitting done with Soft Flex Beading Wire. Yeah, it's a totally different kind of idea. We do it with the craft wire as well, so you can do it with craft wire, but it's really fun to do with the beading wire also. It gives you definitely a different feel. It's got flexibility and a little give to it, and it does open up a whole new possibility of things to do. You can do it in the back, you could do it in the front of your necklace, you can do it as bracelets. I haven't done earrings with it yet, but I think Sarah might have. So now that we're all the way around and I'm holding this in place with my forefinger, what we're gonna do is take our stylus and grab this loop from the bottom on number 1, and you're just gonna pull it up and over that first pin, and then you're gonna pull your tail down at the bottom. And after you get that first one done, you can let go of holding that tail in place. So now we'll just go to number 2. You'll hold this in place there with your finger, and you'll grab the loop. You're gonna pull it out and over, and then you just pull your tail down to tighten it. What you're doing when you pull that tail down is you are creating the tension. Out and over, and then pull. So I do like to go ahead and pull that tail every time so that I can have a more consistent tension across my knit that I'm working on. So I'm gonna go around again, and you're always grabbing the bottom wire and looping it over the pin. Go to the next one, you're gonna grab that bottom wire. And I'm just using the beading wire, which is how I learned. So if you're a beginner, it is nice to just sort of start with the wire for your first pattern so that you get comfortable with it. But you can add beads. If you wanted to add beads while you're knitting, you would just string all your beads onto your spool before you got started. And then as you're knitting, you can pick up a bead and place it. But for this design, we're just going with the wire. I'm kind of a sucker for the sculptural look of the wire on its own. And I think the charms on this particular one are really fun. So you see, you can really pick up speed once you get going. You just, every time you're taking that wire, you're putting it above the loops that are there, and you're using your stylus to grab the bottom loop and go over. Now, if you had to stop and walk away to go do something, the phone rang, I don't know, anything, like if I stopped right here, I would always know where I was because the wire is coming out of the last one that I looped around. So whatever the one your wire is coming out of, see my wire is coming out of 2, that means I'm ready to go to 3. It's very easy to start and stop. And you just pick up where you left off and you go back to the next one here. So this is called, what we call at softflexcompany.com, knit pattern number 3. We do have a whole web page dedicated to the 3 different knitting patterns. So if you go to softflexcompany.com and then check in, click on the School of Design link and go to tips and tricks. There you will see a page for knitting style 1, knitting style 2, and knitting style 3. And you can look at the 3 different patterns that we tend to share and do often. And Damien, thank you for sharing. He shared the Knitting Spools Knit Style 3 page with you guys in the chat as well, so that will link you straight to that one. On that page, we have some step-by-step photos and a video that Sarah had done. I think that was at Jewel School to help you along. And you'll see how it's starting, the pattern's starting to come together. I'm not going to continue any further because it takes about a half hour to get a knit about this size. So I just wanted to show you guys how to get going. And what I'll do is cut this off and just show you how you end it. So when you are done, you cut off like a few inches, maybe 2 to 3 inches of tail. And you're gonna take this and you're going to thread it through each of the pins to close it up. So what I'm gonna do is just take my fingers, move these little loops on the pins up a little bit so I have some room. And then I'm gonna pull away this little loop there so that I can get my wire underneath. See how I did that? How I put that wire through those 2 loops that are on the pin. So now that's secured onto that number 1, and I'm going to do it again on number 2, and I'm going to do it again on number 3. And once you have all of them secured, then you can use your fingers or your stylus to pop your knit off of your spool. And there's our little knit we did. So whenever you're working with knitted wire, you are going to want to cover up the end pieces. Lee asked, does the fine wire make a smaller design? It makes a softer design, meaning the structure of it is a little bit more flexible. Like here, it gives us a little give. The fine is going to be even softer, like you can squeeze it. But as far as the diameter and the circumference go, it's going to be still this size. So you do want to have either cones or end caps, or you can even use your own wire working skills to use craft wire and make your own cones, but something to dress up your end pieces. And that's what I did here. So I'll take off my little bead stopper. So here is the end of my wire. And I am using the capital cord end today just to go over and cover it up. You do have quite a bit of space still, so you can use this end cap if you're using multiple beading wires, or if you're using 4 or 5 pin knitting spools, because they're going to make a little bit wider of a gap. Or you can use cones. There's all sorts of different sizes and shapes in cones. Or like I said, you can make your own with craft wire. But this is the one I'm going to use today. And then you should have some wire, and you'll see too when you're knitting that you only end up with one strand of wire coming out of the knit, which makes it very simple to finish. So you add on your end cap. I'm gonna string on this bead. This was a 10mm red bead, and then this was a 6mm black bead. And that's what I did on this side already, and then crimped it. But I need my bracelet to be a little bit longer, so I'm actually gonna do, on this side, I am gonna do 2 more beads, and that will make it the right size to fit my wrist. These are when bead stoppers come in handy. You could take a little bead stopper and clip it there. And then go ahead and measure where you're at. For me, I have to make it about 7 inches, especially with a toggle clasp, and that's right where we're at. Because you do need a little extra room when you're working with a toggle clasp to get the bar through. If you're using a smaller clasp, you might be able to get away with making a little shorter. So take off that bead stopper, and now I'm gonna string on my 2x2mm crimp tube. This is a Soft Flex Company crimp tube. We make seamless, double the wall thickness crimps that are super strong, and I can't say enough good things about it. So if you struggle with crimps, give ours a try. We take our crimps very seriously. They hold your whole design together when you're using Soft Flex beading wire. And so we really feel like using a quality crimp makes a huge difference. So I'm just gonna make sure, since I am using the, see when I pull this straight, I have the hammered side here and I have the flat side here. So I actually wanna switch that. String this one on the opposite way so that my toggle clasps are both going in the same direction. With the two-sided, you have to be mindful of that. So I'm just gonna pull my crimp tube down nice and tight to my bracelet. And then I'm going to use the magical crimping pliers. What these crimping pliers do is they change your tube, your little crimp tube, into a round bead. They only work with the 2x2 crimp size, which is what we're using here. And this is the ergonomic handle one I'm using today. So I'm going to give it a nice squeeze. Whoop. And it's going to pinch the 4 corners of that crimp. And then I'm going to turn it on its side, place it in there again. You want it right in the center. When you see those 4 corners pinched, you know you got it in the center the first time. Get it back in the center, give it another squeeze, and then I am going to rotate this around. Nancy says, I agree, your crimps are the best. Thanks, Nancy. We really think so. I know we say it all the time on these videos, but it really is true and makes a huge difference in your design. And there we have that part of the bracelet is done, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of these little charms. I always like to tell the story that one time I ran out of crimps and I went to my local hobby store and just picked up crimps thinking, you know, what's the big deal? I'll just grab some crimps while I'm here because I ran out and didn't want to wait for my order to come from Soft Flex. And I could not believe how terrible they were. And I just was like one of those aha moments that I said, no wonder people struggle with crimping. These crimps are awful. They were falling apart in my hand. They were just snapping in half, most of them. And I was doing, you know, I was using my tools and doing crimping the way I've always done it. So it was really an eye-opening moment of just how different crimps can be and how important it is to have a strong crimp. We sell them in sterling silver, gold-filled, copper, and black oxidized, which is actually a sterling silver crimp that has been oxidized to be like a gunmetal black color. So let me go back actually. If you guys have never opened up a jump ring, let me show you how to do that. So this is a teeny little 4mm jump ring. This is an open jump ring, which means it has a slit right there that you can open them. If you buy a closed jump ring, they're just soldered all the way around. There's no way to open and close them. And they work great on certain designs. But for this one, we want to add a charm and we want to add it to our knit. So we need to have that slit in there to open it. So you're going to have 2 pliers to do this, either 2 chain nose pliers or a chain and a flat is what I'm using today. Works just fine. You just need 2 pliers, 1 in each hand, and you're going to twist them, twist your wrists in opposite positions. So one of my pliers is going forward, the other plier is going backward, and that is how you open your jump ring. So it still retains your shape. You don't want to pull them apart and then you lose the circle shape because it's very hard to get the circle shape back if you do it all. And it also changes the integrity of the strength of your jump ring. So now I'm just going to slide on my charm just like that. And I'm keeping my jump ring open because I need to put it on my knitted wire. Now you can be kind of free with this. I did decide to count my knits this time, which is not always like me. I usually would just sort of put them anywhere. But I did count that I had about 42 spaces, and I'm putting a charm like every 5 spaces. So see how this charm is on this loop here? I'm also making sure to put all the charms on this same rib. See how this rib goes all the way from front to back? And there's multiple ribs. I'm staying on this same rib, and in this loop, and then I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from where that one is. And, oh, I went down. There we go. And then getting that on that rib. And now I'm going to go ahead and close it. So I'm going to pick up my other pliers and I'm going to twist that jump ring back together until they're closed and they're all nice and even again. And then we'll do another one. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will put this one right through there. Pick up my other plier, and then I'm twisting my wrist just so those jump rings close up again. This one already has a jump ring on it. I'm just gonna add right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then close that one up. And there you have it. And what's really great about these charms being double-sided is they can go in any direction on your wrist, and you'll see the crystals. So let me go ahead and get this on and just show you guys. How cute is that? So I ended up using 8 of the little charms in here, which left me 2 charms to do a pair of earrings. Nancy is saying, I tried others and was so frustrated until I found yours. Yeah, it's really true. She's talking about those crimps again. They make a huge difference. So I always tell people when I hear, oh, I just can't crimp, or I struggle with crimping, or crimping doesn't work, it always breaks for me. You know, make sure you're using the right crimp tubes. Make sure you're using a crimping plier and not just smashing them, because a crimping plier will actually form your crimp in a way that attaches it to your wire more securely. And it doesn't have to be the magical crimping plier. I just happen to love that one. I love the little ball it makes, and I find it really easy to use. But any crimping plier is better than using like a chain nose pliers or something else to just smash it. So I cut myself some red coral beading wire, and the first thing I gotta do is add my little jump ring to the charm. Hi, Suzanne, welcome. We just finished making this knitted bracelet with all these cute little heart charms on there. And now I'm gonna make a pair of earrings. So the first thing I'm doing is just attaching a little 4mm jump ring to that heart charm. Then I'm gonna string on my charm on the red coral Soft Flex wire in medium. Suzanne says, love it. Yeah, it's really cute. It's really cute. You'll have to watch the beginning. And see how we put it all together. So I'm just adding, I keep finding paint on myself. Lee says that's really cute. I will say I'm not a super, I don't design with hearts very often. It's not something that I normally gravitate towards doing, but these little tiny hearts really kind of stole my heart. They're really cute. So I've got a charm strung on, and then I put the 6mm black beads on either side. And then I'm gonna string both the wires through the larger 10mm bead like this. And then I'm just gonna pull that down, make sure I get it close to what I did on the first one. I pulled that pretty tight on the first one. And you can always adjust how large or small you make your loops. I think I even moved the, yeah, there we go. Moved the black beads up on the wire a little bit so the charm hangs in the center. That looks good. Now I'm gonna grab another 2x2mm sterling Soft Flex crimp tube, string it down both of your wires, and then you're gonna take one wire and go back down to make your loop. And this will be the loop that attaches to your ear wire. You wanna get your crimp down towards your bead and just keep adjusting your loop until it's nice. I made mine pretty tiny on my first one, so I gotta get it quite a bit smaller still. And if you're having trouble pulling your wire, if you lose your grasp a little bit, you can always take a chain nose plier and pull the tail as well. I'll do that sometimes if I just can't get a hold of it. There we go. So now I'm going to use my magical crimping pliers again. Place that crimp right in the center of the notch. Give it a nice squeeze. It will give you 4 pinched edges. Turn it 90 degrees and place it back in that notch. Squeeze it again, and then I just roll and pump a few more times. The manufacturer, the inventor, she says about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times go around, and that just keeps to shape your crimp tube. I'm really liking the ergonomic handle. So if you guys haven't purchased one before, or you have one and you need a second one, I would suggest giving it a try. It took me a little while to get used to because I've been using my other one so long. This is what the regular one looks like. So here's the regular one, and then here's the one with the ergonomic handle. The material's a little different. This one's got sort of that like, I don't know how to call it. It's got a little texture on that material, which I do like because my hands sometimes get a little slippery, but I've always felt like the plier was a little short for my hand. It kind of hits me right there. So when we came out with the ergonomic, I was curious to try it because it doesn't kind of poke me in that center as much. And so what makes it ergonomic? It just makes it, the handles are designed to reduce the possibility of injury or pain. So I guess the shape of them are just a little bit nicer on your hand, especially if you're using them a lot. So I've just been trying to use them more often recently because it is hard to change your tool, even though it's the same tool. You know, the top of it is the exact same tool. it's hard, you get used to something in your hand. But I found the first couple of times I was kind of like, I'm not sure. And then just this week when I was practicing this weekend, I really became more comfortable with it, and I'm digging it. I think in the long run it'll really help with my hand not hurting. So if you do have a pair of magical crimping pliers, the tip of the pliers is flat, that you could use it like a chain nose plier. So a lot of times as a quick, when I'm already using this particular tool, I might just use it quickly to open up and slide on a pair of earrings. Suzanne says, I really love using Soft Flex Beading Wire for ear wires. Good. I mean, it really, you can create all sorts of different shapes. And this, oh, let me cut off a little bit. I see I have a little bit of wire sticking out here. So if you have a little bit of wire like I do there, you can either use your flush cutters to get closer and nip that off, or if you have a big enough hole on your bead, you can always try and just tuck it in. But I'm gonna get a little closer. There we go. And now I've got rid of that little end piece. So it's really kind of fun. This is a shape of ear wire going up there and then going through the bottom here that we use a lot. We meaning like Sarah and I, we show a lot of tutorials using this particular shape. But you change up the beads you use, you change up the size of those loops. These are a lot tighter, or you can go a lot looser, and you totally change the design, but you're using the same exact technique. So they're pretty fun to use instead of always using a head pin or something of that nature to make earrings. Oh, let me see if I can put them in. My hair's kind of dark, so we'll see if you can see them at all. When I flip up, Suzanne says, yes, it's so versatile. So there you go. Can you see that little drop earring? So super cute. I love the teeny tiny heart. And here's the bracelet we made. If you guys liked the idea of knitting, we've got tons of videos here on the Soft Flex Company YouTube channel. We even have a playlist that is all about the knitting spools. So you can watch through those videos in the playlist and you can see how to use different sizes of spools, different patterns, ones with just wire, ones with beads added, craft wire. I've used craft wire with it, so you can use that on that tool. Lots and lots of options. And you can also check us out on our blog at softflexcompany.com and in our free project section. We're always sharing. We're always sharing. And speaking of that, this week we've got some other fun videos coming up for sharing. Cute. Thank you, Kristen, says Suzanne. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's always nice to have you guys on live to chat with while I'm working. It just adds a lot more fun to it. So thank you so much for joining me today. We have got a bead sale tomorrow. So at 1 p.m. Pacific time over on the Soft Flex Company Facebook page, we've got a bead sale from Mike Sherman's personal collection. Those are always a lot of fun. It's great to catch them live because they are first come, first serve on the items that they're selling. Sheila says, thank you, I've learned so much for you. Oh, that's great to hear. I am so happy that you have, and always feel free to ask questions. If you have any questions about something I did in a video, leave them in the comments. We check our comments and we write back. or you can always send me an email at Kristen, Kristen, at softflexcompany, all spelled out, .com. I'm always happy to answer any questions or share any resources if something that I've showed in a video. By all means, we're here to help. Yeah, so the bead sale is on tomorrow, 1 p.m., and I think they're ending them shorter. Usually we let them go quite a few days, but I think our bead sales are gonna be going live on Tuesday and then ending on Thursday. So for those of you that like to shop them, wanted to give you a heads up that I think it's going to be ending on Thursday, which means you have to watch the video before the end of the day on Thursday and make any bids, on what you want. It's first come, first serve on all of the items. There's always lots of really unique and fun things. And even if you don't want to shop, it's fun to watch. I mean, I watch all the time. I don't always buy. It's great when you buy. The quality's fabulous. But if you've never checked it out before, like just come over and take a look and watch. It's super fun to see all the different beads and different items up close. On the 22nd, which is Wednesday, Sarah will be doing a Facebook Live on the Soft Flex Company Facebook page at 1 p.m. Pacific time with a new jewelry making tutorial. And then we have James back. He is back here on the Soft Flex Company YouTube channel with his first Conversations in Wire video of the year on Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time is when that video premieres. So be sure to check out that. I'm back here next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific time again for a new live free spirit beading tutorial. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also hit to get alerts. You can either get all the alerts or some of the alerts, and then you won't miss any videos and you can see what we're up to on a regular basis. If you liked today's video, give me some thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm and things of that nature on YouTube, getting our videos out there to be seen by more people and more beaders. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day in love and service today, and I will see you all here next week, same time. And Damien is sharing our VIB Studio group, which is a beading group we have over on Facebook. So click on that and join us over there. If you are a Facebook person, you're over on Facebook, come join us and join the fun in our beading group over there as well. All right, have a great one. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.